there, Meekachii here. I know it's a little late, but I'm doing my July wrap-up, August TBR video. I read a lot of books. I know a lot of you read tons of books all the time, but I read 13 books this month, and that's like a crazy amount for me. But it's all thanks to me being on vacation during the booktubeathon, and I was able to finish that 7 books in 7 days challenge. So that's really where like the biggest chunk of this came from. Why do I always say that word? I hate that word.
You said trunk.
I said chunk. Because I did do a lot of these reviews kind of in depth during my booktubeathon videos, I'm not going to do like huge reviews on most of them, plus it would take forever. So first off, I did put a lot of the reviews in much more detail on my Goodreads account, so if you want to click the link down below, become friends with me, you can read all of my reviews on these books, and you can also watch those other videos, the booktubeathon videos. I'll let you know which books were actually part of the booktubeathon, so if you want to check out those videos to see what I thought in depth, you can do that. So anyway, I have a ton of stuff to go through. Let's get started. The first book I finished was Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I listened to this on audiobook and read the physical book. The audiobook was actually really good. The character, or the narrator, I could totally see as the character, so it definitely like made the whole vibe better when that happens. I ended up giving this book a 4.25 out of 5. I thought it was just really adventurous and fun, and like the story was really good, and I liked the main characters. It definitely even had like a Sherlock Holmes feel to it, because there were certain characters in here that had like very good observational skills and they could figure things out that way. And I don't know, I just thought it was a really fun story. I do have a full review on Goodreads if you want to check that out, and I definitely recommend it. And I cannot wait to read the next one, what's it called? Hunting Prince Dracula. Then I picked up The Gold Sun by Carrie Ann Noble. I was sent this book by the publisher to feature on my channel. I wasn't really asked to read it per se, but it sounded really cool, so I did pick it up. And I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. It had such a cool like fairy tale feel to it, but it was written very well. There was a lot of detail, and I just like got sucked into the story. It's basically about a kid, or a boy, who from birth was cursed to become a leprechaun one day, and it's his adventure, I guess you could say, on how he tries to prevent that from happening. But yeah, if you guys want like a really cool, like almost new age fairy tale, this one is definitely one to pick up. So next, after reading 2 really good books, you have to have one that's, you know, not as good. I ended up reading The Waking Land by Callie Bates, and I feel really bad because I was given a copy of this to review, and I don't like when I'm given copies and I don't like the book, but my goodness, I did not like this book. I wanted to not finish it so badly, and I am really not the type of person that DNFs books, and I just did not want to finish it. I've never read War and Peace, but that's kind of what I imagine it would be. Like, the whole entire plot was strategy, war, and more strategy, and the character wasn't interesting, like the main character, and basically it's a girl who gets taken from her parents when she's younger, and then she ends up like loving her captor parents, if that makes sense. And then the king guy dies, and then she has to go back to her homeland because she's kind of accused for his death. You know, the story seemed like it could be really cool, but then it just bored the ever-loving poop out of me. Like, I could not... I wish I didn't have to read it, to be honest. Like, I don't know. That's mean. But I graciously gave this book a 2 out of 5 because it was written well for what it was. I have to give props to the author. She did a good job at writing it. It was just so boring. And I can never see myself picking up this book again. And if you guys like very strategic war type stories, then you'll love it. So you should pick it up. But if you don't, then after that slump, I finally picked up another good book. Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, the final book in the Infernal Devices trilogy. And this is by far, in my opinion, the best book out of this series, which I'm sure a lot of people have that same opinion. I did give the first 2 books, I believe, 4 out of 5s, but like this series, I just did not like it as much as the Mortal Instruments. But I didn't read the last 3 Mortal Instruments, so I guess I can't fully judge. I ended up giving this one a 4.5 out of 5. I don't have a review up on Goodreads. I don't know why, but I really enjoyed the way the whole story ended. I thought they threw some really awesome things your way that I totally didn't see coming, and it just made it all the better for it. And the ending, oh my god, I cried like a baby. I think the series is worth reading just for this book.
Did you just burp?
No, I don't think I did.
You definitely...
I totally didn't.
I totally.
Anyway, so yeah, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5, and I hope to finally soon be able to pick up the Mortal Instruments series again and finish with 4, 5, and 6, because everyone raves about the, what's the new series? The Dark Artifices series?
The Dark Orifices?
Artifices.
What's an artifice?
Anyway, everyone raves about the new trilogy that's out, and I want to get to it so badly. But then started Booktubeathon. And like I said, I'm not going to go into extreme detail about these books because I do have them featured in their own videos. But the first book I read for Booktubeathon, Owie, was Coming Up for Air by Miranda Kennelly. And it was a cute, fluffy, contemporary novel about a driven girl who wants to be in the Olympics for swimming. And I don't know, the book, I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5. It wasn't really what I thought it was going to be. I thought she was going to go have all these like super fun high school adventures to kind of like catch up on life because she's been swimming her whole life. But it really wasn't like that. It was just her wanting to like be with dudes. And yeah, I mean, it was okay for what it was. 3 out of 5. The second book I read for Booktubeathon was When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandra Menon. So it's basically a typical cute contemporary romance, but it's not so typical because it doesn't really have a lot of the contemporary romance tropes that you find in other books. There were definitely some things I didn't really see coming. What's so funny?
You said tropes.
Oh. He loves that word. Ow, I just punched myself and the books. There are definitely some things I didn't see coming, and I thought the ending was really cute, and it wasn't really what I thought was going to happen. So I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. Then my third Booktubeathon book that I read was Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna McGuire, and it was one of the books that I didn't think I was going to overly like, and I ended up really loving this book. I want to pick up the next one so badly. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. It's a really cool fairy tale-esque type story, but it's set in the modern world, but the way it's written is so full of like detail. The way it's written is so full of detail, and there's just so much crammed into this tiny book, but it's not overwhelming. Like, you're really into it when you read it, and you can imagine everything that's happening, and you can really like get a feel for the characters, and just the story that this author creates is so unique, and I just loved it. I would definitely recommend this. It is not really for kids though. Like, it seems like it would be, but I don't recommend it for anyone probably under 17, and I'd say like a mature 17. Maybe I'm out of line by saying that, but what number am I on? 4 for Booktubeathon? Anyway, another Booktubeathon book I picked up was The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. So if you want to see my detailed review on this, I do have it on Goodreads, and I have like more detail in a Booktubeathon video. But anyway, it was super fun, adventurous, funny, romancy, cute, adventurous, did I say adventurous? Novel. And there was so much going on. It was so like full of action and fun stuff and stuff you didn't see coming, and I just like super loved this book, and yeah, you should pick it up.
Was it adventurous?
It was adventurous and funny. Then I read Lucky in Love by Casey West. I read the ARC edition, which is probably the same as the finalized copy. It did come out in July though, if you guys want to pick it up. It's a cute story about a girl that doesn't really do anything like crazy, but she decides to get a lottery ticket on her birthday, and then she wins like $30 million or something. And this story is basically about her relationship with everyone around her and how her winning that money has affected everything. And even though it looks like it's like super heavy into the romance, it's really not. Like, there is romance in it, but it's not the main focus in my opinion, which was kind of nice. And it was just a cute story. I would give it a 3.5. I almost said 3.4 out of 5. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5, and also for this one I have a review on Goodreads, and it's in my Booktubeathon videos. Then I read my favorite book of the month, by far, which is My Best Friend's Exorcism. I talked in depth about this book on my Booktubeathon video. I'm just dead today. I talked in depth about this book in my Booktubeathon video, so I won't bore you guys, but it is full of 80s goodness. It is about friendship deep down. That's really what this book is about. It does have a lot of horror flick type awesomeness to it, but it's really not like the horror aspect of the book that makes it good, even though that part is really good. And the writing, I love this author, even though this is the only book I've read by him. I did just purchase another book by him though, so that will be coming up in my September haul. But anyway, I gave this book a 5 out of 5, and I super recommend it if you guys want like a good friendship story with some awesome 80s thriller / horror movie vibes. Then the last book I read for Booktubeathon was Juniper Lemons Happiness Index by Julie Israel, and this was like the official book of the month, It was the official Booktubeathon book, and I didn't really like it, to be honest. Like, I did give it a 3 out of 5 because for a while I was really into the story and I wanted to know what was going to happen, but I had a couple of issues with it. First issue being, this is a story about a girl who loses her sister, and I mean, it's supposed to be like very emotional in a sense and really how this character's dealing with it, but it did not really make me overly feel anything. And I am a crier. I cry all the time when I'm reading stuff and watching stuff, and I didn't shed like a single tear for this. I don't think. Actually, maybe one. It should have given me more feels than that. Second off, it leaves something unanswered in the end, which really drives me crazy. And I can't stand when like there's big things unanswered in the end of books, and I just... no. So 3 out of 5. Then I read Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab, which is the sequel to This Savage Song, and I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I gave This Savage Song a 3 out of 5, I believe, and I wasn't like super loving it. You guys gotta let me know if these two books are not as good as her Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, because I have that trilogy, and I have the audio version. I don't have the physical one yet. But I want to read it, but I don't know, like, I didn't overly love this series. I ended up giving this one a 3.5 out of 5 because the ending was good. But I was pretty darn bored throughout a lot of this book, and I just feel like the development wasn't there. There was so much potential for development in this book. Like, I feel like the monsters themselves could have been explained way better. Give us some fake science. Give us some, like, meat and, like, just fluff up, like, the science-y part of it. And I think that would have made it so much better. I mean, that's just my opinion. But I felt myself being bored. I feel like the characters weren't... I didn't care enough about the characters to really, like, get into it, I guess. But the ending did save this book for me, so it got a little higher rating than the last one, so I give it a 3.5 out of 5. And last but not least, my 13th book I read this month was First We Were Four by... who was it by? Oh, Alexandra Sirawi. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5. I do have an in-depth review on Goodreads if I'm not able to, like, say what I want to say properly here, but basically... going into it, there was so much cool stuff. I was super drawn into this story in the beginning. I feel like it was written well, and I feel like there was a lot of mystery to it. It made you want to, like, know what was going to happen next. Then I got to, I think it's probably about 75% through the book, and these characters kind of got a little crazy to me. Like, they were doing stuff in this group that they created. I forgot to tell you what it was about. Basically, it's a group of 4 friends that create this, like, order to kind of, like, put their mark on society, and I don't know, they want to do it before they graduate high school to kind of, like, become known, even though no one really knows who they are, because they are for the order. I don't know, I forget what they call themselves. But anyway, this order starts doing some, like, crazy stuff, in my opinion, and I almost feel like the characters don't grow, and they should. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like they should have grown more as characters and as people by the end of this book, and I just don't feel like they did that. And on top of it, there was some animal cruelty in here, so if you, like, if that's a trigger for you, I would not read this. It kind of was for me. Like, I can't stand animal cruelty, and, like, that really, like, immediately that brought my review down to, like, a 3 when I was reading this, and I was like, ew. The ending was okay. Also, I feel like there's so much buildup, and then the end is kind of like, alright, I get it. And that's it. There is some stuff that happens in the end that's significant. I don't know. I have my review on Goodreads if you want to know more, but it was a good book. A lot of people really like it, and there is a lot of, like, mystery, and it's a fast read. If you're not, like, a really character-driven reader where you really like character development, and if you're all about, like, plot and story, then I think you'd really like it as well. So on to my August TBR. I forgot what month it was already. So since it is already a few days into August, because I'm lame and I'm putting this up late, I started a couple books already. The first book being The New Voices of Fantasy. It has, like, a million authors in it, so just, you know, it's called The New Voices of Fantasy, and it's the one that came out in 2017. I guess this is, like, the second book, but I was given this in ARC form to kind of read and give you guys my review. I think it came out actually late July. I think it came out earlier than it was supposed to, and I'm already about 50% into this. It's okay so far. I feel like it's not really fantasy. There's only, like, 1 or 2 stories in it that really scream fantasy to me, and I love fantasy, so that's why I wanted to get it. That's why I requested it. But we'll see. There's still, you know, literally half of the stories to go through, so I'll let you guys know next month what I thought of it. So I'm also currently reading The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Finally, I know I'm super late. Everyone's read this entire series by now, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I knew nothing about this book going into it, and it is totally different than what I thought it would be, but that's not a bad thing. I really think the characters are all super well developed. I like the main character. I don't really have any issues with this book so far, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm also listening to the audiobook as well as reading it, and the narrator, I didn't think I would really like him at first, but he's grown on me. He's alright. But yeah, I'll let you guys know about this one also next month when I finally finish it, but I'm about 50% of the way through this one as well, and I'm enjoying it. So pretty much the rest of my TBR list is going to be ARCs. I was lucky enough to receive quite a few ARCs from publishers for things that are coming out this month and early next month, so I was kind of trying to finish all the books that are coming out the end of this month, and September 5th was kind of like my cutoff, because there are a lot of books coming out September 5th. September is going to be a crazy month for new releases. Like, there's so much coming out. But anyway, that was my cutoff. So anything that I had up until September 5th, or that was like the release date at the time, that's what I'm reading. But basically one of the first arcs I'm going to get to is Mask of Shadows by Lindsay Miller. This one's scheduled to come out August 29th as of right now. So from what I can tell, it's basically about a gender fluid character, so I'm guessing that means, you know, we don't know if it's a boy or girl, which I'm fine with. So the main character finds a flyer for, I guess, a contest to become a part of the Left Hand, which is like the Queen's personal assassins, and the main character decides that they're going to try out for that. It's really all I know about this book. I've heard some mixed things about it. I'm hoping I really like it because when I first read the synopsis, I thought it sounded really cool. The next book that I plan on picking up is The Tiger's Watch by Julia Ember. I was sent an e-arc of this. This one comes out August 22nd as of right now. And the synopsis is like really detailed, so I'm not going to go into too much detail from what I kind of understand by like breezing through it really quickly. So I guess basically our main character, Tashi, is a soldier of sorts, and she uses a bonded animal to fight, but then for some reason she has to go into hiding, and then she finds a boy that she likes, but then she has to choose between like fighting for her country or helping him out or something like that I don't know. It seemed pretty cool, and the whole bonded animal concept screams like video games to me for some reason, so I don't know, it seemed like a cool book. I said that already, but I can't wait to pick it up, and I'll let you guys know what I think about it. The next arc, or one of the next ones I plan on picking up, is God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. I am so excited to read this. I can't wait to read this. This is the sequel, or book 2 of the Nevernight Chronicles, or Nevernight Chronicles, and Chronicle. God, I'm just like, I'm done. Comes out September 5th, and I can't really say much about it because it's a sequel, but the first book was awesome. It follows a main girl, Mia Corvere, I think that's her name if I remember it correctly, and she wants to become like a great assassin so she can kill the people that killed her family. That sounds way too simplistic for what this story is. It is such a great story, and the character development is awesome. The story is just so cool. The plot, the world that they're in. I gave it a 5 out of 5, the first book, and I hear that this book is just as good, if not better, so I cannot wait to pick it up. The next book coming out on September 5th is Girls Made of Snow and Glass by Melissa Bashardust. This is another one where the synopsis seems like crazy, and I don't even know how to get into it, but it's about a girl who has a heart made of glass, whose mother dies, and her father's vicious, so then she goes and tries to like win the heart of some king, I guess, and she wants to like marry him, but that's gonna make her a stepmother to like someone really not younger than her. I mean, sort of younger, but you get what I mean. Then I guess it's like kind of like they're doomed to be enemies of sorts because they both want the same thing, and it's about their relationship, and I hear this kind of goes back and forth between like the past and the present, and I don't know. It just seems cool. And I heard it was like a mixture of Frozen and something else, and I love Frozen, so that's what like drew me in. And yeah, I've already been recommended this book by like 3 people, and it's not even out yet, so I hope it's really good. Then I got an awesome sampler in the mail, which I know a ton of people have already gotten this, so, you know, whatever. But it is The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo, and I recently read Wonder Woman, which does come out in August. If you guys have not pre-ordered it yet, I loved that book. But anyway, this book seems so cool. It is basically a bunch of like short fairy tales, and as you progress in the story, the picture gets like more and more detailed. I don't know, this sampler is gorgeous, and I can't imagine like if this is that pretty, like what the final book is gonna be like. But this is super short. I'll probably read it really quickly. I think there's only 3 stories in here, but it is part of the Grisha verse. But yeah, that's all I got. So the final book or arc I plan on picking up this month is Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart, which is the same author that does We Were Liars. This one comes out September 5th as well, but I hear it's a pretty quick read. I cannot figure out what the heck this book is about. All I can understand about the synopsis is it's about someone or a girl who changes her identity all the time, and that's all I'm gonna try to understand. When I read it, I'll let you guys know more about the synopsis because it does not give you a lot in the synopsis, so maybe there's a reason for that. Who knows? Creepy. So, thank you guys for watching. I know this was super long, and I'm sorry about that, but let me know what you guys think of any of these books. If you read any of them, let me know what you thought. If you had the same opinion as me or a different opinion. If you're looking forward to reading any of these books, let me know. check out my Goodreads. I have a lot of reviews on there, and I always keep it updated as to what I'm reading and stuff like that. So I am going to be doing my August book haul soon, which is going to be a pretty crazy book haul. So if you want to check that out, that's coming out soon. If you want to be notified, there is a little bell next to the subscribe button down below. It will notify you when I come out with new videos, or my husband comes out with new videos. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked it. And I will see you guys next time.